Good afternoon. What is up, everybody? It is Sunday, June 23rd, and we are recording the fifth episode in my bodybuilding vlog, cataloging my journey in the IMBF Summer Explosion 2024 in Naugatuck, Connecticut. As you guys can see, and I went over this last week, but that video is still marked private for the moment. We've gone through a little bit of a rebranding. I'm going to just touch on that since the previous video does have information on it. And then I'm going to get into some channel updates. And then we will get into the update for the week. So let's start with the rebranding. We have basically come up with a name for my brand, Natural Legacy Bodybuilding. The meaning behind that can be figured out by watching my previous video, which should be posted sometime this week. For those of you that want to see it here soon, you can go to my video section on the YouTube, and it is technically unlisted because I kind of want it to be more private, only for my community and for my family and friends that wish to view it. It is a tribute video to a cousin of mine who is very close to me that passed away about a week and a half ago. And a lot of good story there, a lot of good discussion on what legacy means and about the impact that he had on me. Rest in peace, Scott. So that's kind of the rebrand. You can see the logo here on the screen. I'd like to go over a couple of channel updates as well. I've gotten feedback from community, friends, things of that nature, and I've decided to kind of change up the way the vlog works a little bit. I know you guys don't just want to tune in and watch me show pictures on my Instagram, posing, open up the same bodybuilding log week to week, go over the minor changes, things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep that as part of the vlog. But as you see with the chapters, if you wish to just kind of see that real quickly, move to something else, you can do so. But we're also going to be covering a topic each week. And this week's topic will end up being the top 5 lessons that I've learned basically through my prep up to this point, and more importantly, the stuff that you really, really have to have dialed in for the last half of your prep. So we'll get into that here in this video. So a little bit of changes there, and basically, yeah, let's get started for the week. So before I get into changes for the week, before I get into updates, I want to thank my video sponsor for this week. It is my travel agent that I've used for the last 2 years for travel purposes, internationally, here regionally, so forth. My wife and I booked a couple vacations to her. Her name is Jamie, and she runs Dreamcaster's Travel. That is the name of her brand. This is her Facebook page here. I'm going to share that in my video description below, so feel free to pop on her page here and check her out. She is incredible, guys, and the thing that she really wanted me to let you guys know from Jump Street is that she books all-inclusive Caribbean trips, but she can also book everything from cruises, Disney, Universal, rentals, and domestic travel. So really, she does everything. And she is very, very good at that. So just some photos from her page here, just doing a quick little scroll. She posts regularly and she books regularly, guys. She's very sought after. So definitely check out her page. Let me show you guys her form for booking because I want to go over a couple of things. This will also be included in the comment section. Very simple. Just fill it out. Let her know what your contact method is, what you're requesting. Make sure you put referred by me. You can just put Jason DeFreitas here. And for those of you that don't know my last name or how to spell it, I will also put that in the video description. So I'll have my full name and I'll put like a little referred by Jason DeFreitas. You guys can just copy and paste that in there. As far as everything else on here, destinations that you have in mind, do you and the people you're traveling with have passports? Passports are very important for international travel, obviously, but one lesson I learned through Jamie is you want it for even just in the U.S. travel if you're going to be doing something like the Caribbean and or U.S. territories, because you never know what's going to happen, like on a cruise or during travel, if things might need to be rerouted. It's just worth your weight in gold to have it, and it's not very hard to do. I know a lot of people say it might be intimidating, but truthfully, it's really not that bad. What your budget, etc., etc. So we won't go through the whole thing. It's pretty straightforward. Really, the most important thing is referred by, guys. So just make sure you get my name in there. She will waive the research fees for those that are coming from my video. So just keep that in mind. And everything else she does is free. She gets paid by her agency. So it's awesome. It's just a great resource. Saves you a lot of trouble and hassle trying to find good prices and things of that nature. Jamie will work with whatever budget you have, and she will do her best to help you. So that is all about Jamie and Dreamcaster travel. I wanted to show you guys some pictures from the honeymoon that I booked with her because I feel it's relevant. So me and my wife went to Paradise Island last summer in July for the July 4th holiday. I'm just going to let these roll here so you guys can see some of the photos we snapped. We stayed right on the water. Jamie booked us our all-inclusive hotel well within our budget. We had a huge pool outdoor there, obviously great views, restaurants nearby, things of that nature. Click through these a little faster. So here we are on a dock. Let's see what else we got. So this is us enjoying some time on the beach at the resort. These are pictures from our hotel room. So obviously, you guys can see pretty great time. I wish I could go back. Wish we had the funds because, my God, was that a good time. And my beautiful wife. So maybe again in the future. We'll have to see. This is some of the festivities from July 4th holiday. Some local bands and tourist attractions that came on through. Very, very cool. Could not have done this without Jamie. She was awesome. And one of the other things I wanted to say about her that's really relevant is we experienced some flight issues to where one of our flights got changed, and we actually lost a day on our honeymoon. And because of that, we were obviously a little upset. We called Jamie to see if there's anything that she could do. And Jamie actually called the resort and had things moved around to shift our days so we could get that additional day back and stay later. She also worked with the airlines to rearrange flights and get us a flight the next morning when our one flight got moved so we could go out first thing that next morning and get there as early as possible. So she took care of all of that for us, and basically, you know, she said, don't worry about it, I got you, I'll take care of it, and she did. So really just a little bit of stress as far as initially when the flight got changed and things like that and issues there, but having a travel agent that will hop on a phone for you, make phone calls, work on things like that, I just can't underestimate the value enough. Jamie is phenomenal at what she does, and you guys should definitely use her. Okay, so that is enough time on my video sponsor for the week. Let's go ahead and get into what we did this week as far as changes. So week 12, our change log, if you look in here, nothing too crazy. This is our second week of, well, this was our first week of carb cycling. I'm going into my second week again, and it's the second carb cycle we've done during prep. So this past week, Josh up carbs 15 on chest, back, leg days, so 3 out of 7 days during the week. The other days obviously stayed at 85 there. We added 3 minutes on stairs and elliptical at home for non-gym days. So we were up to 37 minutes this week and 53 respectively. We added a cup of water to go up to 18 cups, and we are starting to practice our stage routine. So those are the big changes for week 12 that I did this last week. Going into week 13, which is this week's, we upped carbs again on chest, back, and legs, so 10 more. I'm really enjoying that because it's a little bit more rice or a little bit more veggies or really just any starches or anything else I want to kind of have to round out my carbs there. And we're up on cardio again. So you can kind of see like the cardio kind of offsets a little bit of the carb cycle as well, because we're adding intensity and we're adding, obviously, you know, moving, keeping your heart rate up, being active, things like that with the cardio there. So this wasn't a huge change week, just adding a little bit more carbs, and I believe this will be the end of the last carb cycle, and I think we'll start our dive bomb in the next week or two. I'm not sure exactly what Josh has planned, but I know that is incoming here soon. So I'm actually getting really excited for that because I feel like I'm looking pretty decent. I had a terrible dysmorphia day yesterday. Not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about dysmorphia as next week's topic because I wanted to have something to go on for my next video. This is the current physique as of yesterday at 179.9. And then this morning I was actually at 179.2. So again, trending in the right direction, looking good. I don't know if you guys can read this on screen, but basically I was just saying how I felt like I was falling a little behind because it feels like no matter what I do, I just kind of can't get the midsection dialed in enough to look stage lean. But then again, like yesterday was a bad day. I'm looking at this today and I'm like, man, the taper is really there. I'm starting to learn how to engage my lat a lot more. I've been watching a lot of videos on this because I feel like it's the worst part of my physique from the front side. And dots finally connected for me this week, and I actually figured out how to engage the lat as far as just contracting it at will and not just trying to force it to pop by moving your posture around and moving your posing around to try and find an area where it looks good. I actually learned how to contract the damn muscle, and that's through repeated efforts the last couple of weeks to changes in my training and really starting to do reps more intentionally. I always try, but even more so the last few weeks to really feel things like pull down, underhand bent over rows, T-bar rows, depending on the positioning of your hands, things like that. So we're really working on being intentional and feeling out those muscle groups. Taper is coming a lot further with the V, so I'm very excited about that as well. This was kind of abs thigh pose that I was just kind of getting a little bit in the mirror there. Again, I'd like to see a little bit more in the mid-ab section. I'm never happy with that, and the stretch marks are really killing me. It takes everything I have to look past them and not pay attention to them because obviously we've lost a lot of weight, and I'm kind of self-conscious about it, but I also know these are like battle scars. Like these are... it's the price you pay for losing all that weight, and obviously it really makes you never want to get there again because even looking at it now, you can see, you know, it's not the most sightly thing, but something I'll live with until things tighten up more and we get better at this and more dialed in every prep. So those were pictures from this week. This is just a post I put up in honor of my cousin Scott, the one who passed away about a week and a half ago. And you know, his tribute video again will be coming very soon after family all have a chance to view it. But you guys can access it from my channel videos. So if you go to my video tab, you guys can go ahead and pop in there and watch it if you wish. All right, so that is updates, pic-wise, log-wise. We're not going to get into any posing this week. I might do some next week. We'll see. But the last bit I wanted to get into was the core and bulk of this video for today, guys. So if you guys are fast-forwarding into this, cool. Let's go ahead and get into the top 5 lessons for Prep Phase 2. Let's go to slideshow here. All right, so let's just start here. The first one is sleep. So a couple weeks ago, I was watching some videos on this, especially for natty lifters. A lot of bodybuilding channels here on YouTube that you can get information from. Not a specific one per se, but a lot of the pros who do both natty and obviously untested, you know, sleep's paramount from what everyone says. And I recognize it a lot more now, and I said it early on throughout prep that I was going to get better at it, and I tried the first 8 to 10 weeks, and I couldn't lock in on it because my schedule's too much of a whirlwind. I know I'm making excuses, but it really was, and I just wasn't used to the demand that prep took on you, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, etc. It's very draining. Sleep is so important, guys. When my son finished school for the year here about a couple of weeks ago, luckily I didn't have to take him in anymore early in the morning because obviously he's home. So I got an hour of sleep back, working an hour later into the day at work, and I'm able to sleep in more on weekday mornings. And I can't tell you the difference it has made, both in the weight and how it moves, as well as just how much more energy you're going to get with, I mean, even if it's 20, 30 more minutes of deep sleep, even if it's just a little bit extra sleep, nodding off again, it really does help. And so if there's anything I could say early on, is get that crap dialed in as early as possible, because it impacts everything. It impacts the way your body processes the food. It impacts, how well it does it. So yeah, just make sure you're getting enough sleep. You gotta take a nap during the day, take a nap, do whatever you can, but you should be closer to that 7 to 8 hour mark. I'm probably hovering around 7 hours a night, and that to me is pretty damn good. Weekends, I'm definitely getting 8 to 9, so I feel like it balances. The other one is recovery. So I've had this locked in, I feel like almost the whole time. I've been pretty good with the supplements with my BCAAs. Also used turmeric on my egg whites and my rice. That was something my coach told me to try out and see if it helped towards the beginning of prep. And I found personally that it did. Might be different for everybody there, so you can give it a try, but it's a spice. It doesn't really contain any sodium. It adds a little bit of flavor. I wouldn't say you need to go heavy-handed with it. A little goes a long way. Just mix it in, and you get kind of, a little bit more flavor in your food, and you're going to get better recovery as far as muscle groups go. So recovery's gone well, but the reason I say you need to keep this going well is because for that reason, I've been able to add in another workout, even as a natural. Now, I know like rest is paramount, and you got to let each muscle group rest 2 to 3 days, before you go back and hit them again. We're able to do that because of the way we've spaced our push-pull legs out, what we do on our supplemental day, and then we were able to add a lat focus day on Saturday a couple of weeks back. And we're doing that more so, I know we can't really bring anything up at this point, but more so to get a mind-muscle connection going with it, and to try and just add a little more tissue definition in there and depth into that, just to hopefully, with me learning how to engage them and getting just a little more tissue, a little bit better of a taper, might be able to get the lats popping a little bit more before the event. So that's kind of the goal of that. But again, the recovery aided me in being able to add another day. So keep your recovery dialed in. Make sure your days are spaced out well. Make sure you're not hammering muscle groups too often if you're doing natty like I am, because the rest for the muscle groups is super important. All right, so that's recovery. Number 3, we are dialing this in more now. Josh brought this up a couple of weeks ago, and I did try my best to dial the sodium in, dial it back maybe 500, 750 milligrams, because I'm a very high sodium intake person. Between the meats and starches that I have, the protein levels that we're at, I find it very difficult to stay below like 3.5K. And that's kind of where Josh wanted me for the last few weeks. But let's be honest, I don't track, or I haven't really tracked micros well up to this point. Is this a huge impact? No. But as we get closer, like, you really do need to start dialing these things in, because it's the little things that count. You hit like week 8, week 10, week 12. These are things that have to start getting dialed in. You have to do the little things right, or you might as well not be doing this, because those are the things, the final tools in your kit that make all the difference as far as getting your body closer and closer to that point that you want for peak week. So what we did this week was we decided we're going to stop with the no-calorie sauces and extra sodium toppings, basically. So we cut out buffalo sauce with my egg whites, some like meats. We cut out the sauces that sometimes I have with my egg whites, things like that. Looking at the values on those labels, like just the serving or two I have in the morning or in the afternoon as well, is going to lower my sodium by at least 750 to 1,000 milligrams a day. I'm probably sitting somewhere around 4.5K, to be honest. Especially over the last week or so, I go a little heavy-handed with the hot sauce, buffalo sauce, just because I feel like I want flavor in my foods still. But I realize, you can't have all that forever. So we cut those this week. We're back down to earth with the sodium around the numbers that Josh wants me at for right now. And we're going to let that simmer for a few weeks and see where things go. But essentially, we're peaked on water right now. And we're peaked on the amount I'm holding. If you look at statistics out there online, a lot of research done on it, but the average human being, body weight, water weight wise, you're going to carry about 50 to 60% of your weight in water, closer to 60 most of the time, on average. I'm carrying about 63, even a little more than that percent. So, and I've found via my scans, the most my body is wanting to hold right now is about 110 to 112 pounds of water. Even cutting the sodium down that much, we're probably going to get closer to that 60%, a little under. And gradually, over these next few weeks, we should see a little bit of that weight come off in water while still keeping the intake capped. So we're still flooding the system, but we're slowly pulling out the sodium and the retention thereof, very, very slowly. This is a minor change. We're just talking, 750, 1,000 milligrams sodium tops. And as a natty, again, that's just another tool in the kit. It's just another small thing we can be doing adjustment-wise to try and make a difference here as we are now in week 13, crazy enough. That was starting yesterday. Number 4 is knowing your weaknesses in your physique. I've talked about it over the last few weeks, and for me, I do feel like it is my lats from the front, and realizing that they're not going to be dominant in any way, shape, or form. That's not going to be a pose I'm going to win on stage. As far as front lat pose, they do look much better front double bicep. I just have an easier time engaging them there. But even then, we've gone more with the delt cap and width to help the taper more, knowing that my lats aren't fully developed and they won't be for the first show just because they take so long to bring up. So, especially this being my first show, I never really focused on them until I began bodybuilding. So they are a muscle group that lagged way behind everything else that we're going to need to really bring up over the next few shows. So that will be a big piece of next prep, following prep, so forth. But it's understanding that every bodybuilder is going to have a weakness, multiple even, and that you can't be the best at everything. But bodybuilding's very much an illusion and an art form to where you focus on your strengths, and in every pose, if you're doing that, you try and bring out the best of the muscle groups involved in that pose without trying to overdo, work too hard or strain to get something you don't have to pop. Like, there's just no sense in doing that because you're working harder, you're exhausting your energy, and you're not putting any emphasis on the minor areas that could help bring that pose up. So this is something that I've had to really adjust to over the course of my prep, and understanding that, hey, it's not perfection. It can't be. Just do your best with every pose, do your best with every muscle group in your workout, and keep giving it 100%, 110 as everyone would say, and eventually things will get dialed in the most that they can for what you're doing, and then you have the next go to really improve upon that. This is kind of building that foundation, literally setting the stage for future competitions. So understanding you have weaknesses. Last is going to be expectations. Tempering your expectations. Of course I want to go in here and win this thing my first time around. Of course I do. Realistically speaking, knowing I'm competing in men's masters, 40 and up, I'm competing in the open. I'm going to be going against some really good guys. This is a pro show, obviously amateur levels as well, which is what I'm competing in. But if you look at it, you have to understand that, a lot of these guys competing, since I chose not to do novice, have been on stage multiple times. they've had a chance to hone their physique in more. They perfected posing more. You know, they are a lot more dialed in. There might be some new guys in there with me as well. And so, you know, where I have edges, I know where that is as far as my physique. But even though I think I have an edge, I may not, knowing how hard and committed that the rest of these guys are, especially if they've done multiple shows and they're hungry. So you got to be hungry to do the sport. If you're not going to step on stage without having been hungry. So it's going to be tough. I'm going to work my hardest. I'm going to get to the best version of me that I can. I'm going to be confident out there, but I'm going to go out there understanding that, you know, while a win may be possible, the win is getting out there and getting on stage and getting the experience. And that's why I signed up for the non-novice version of this show. I didn't want to be on there with first timers. I wanted to be out there seeing what my future competition looks like, seeing kind of what I have to build up to be competitive in this sport and to compare myself against that. So that way I have a baseline of where we are going into the off season and then the second prep for my next show, which is still undecided and will be for quite some time. But those are the top 5 lessons that I've learned heading into the second phase of my prep, which is the last 10 weeks. And, you know, we got 8 to go as of yesterday, so we're under 8. We're, you know, moving towards 7.5 weeks out here very shortly. So let's go ahead and exit this. With that being said, I feel like we have pretty much covered everything for the day that I wanted to get into in this video. Guys, one last thing. If you are enjoying the content, I am taking feedback seriously. I really appreciate you guys tuning in, finding what you're interested in, watching those parts of my video. The big things we can be doing to help my channel personally, if you can at all give me a little more assistance, are watch time. So finding an area of my video you really like, maybe watching as much of it as possible, and subs. To get to the YouTube partner level, we got a long climb. I do think we can get there, and I'm going to keep changing up this content, making it better and better for you guys. That way you want to tune in more often. Leave comments. Let me know what works, what doesn't work, what you would like to see. I'm willing to really try and go a bunch of different directions with this. Obviously, the focus being on the vlog, but topics as well. Very interested in what you guys have and what you'd be interested in hearing, either as a first-time competitor, a novice competitor, amateur or pro. You know, just give me feedback and I'll run with it, and we'll work with that to make our videos as awesome and engaging as we can. I want to be interactive. So I appreciate you guys tuning in for the 5th video. I hope to have my tribute video hopefully posted up sometime this week for my cousin Scott. And this video will be posted up this evening, so you'll be able to watch it tonight, Sunday, June 23rd. Until next week, hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay cool. Very hot heat wave coming through here in Virginia right now. If you're elsewhere, obviously I know it's summer, so just stay cool out there, be safe, and I'll see you next week, fellas. Take it easy.